Good Saturday morning. Thank you for joining us here on WCNC Plus. This is a special edition of Live Impact News on WCNC Plus because today we're talking about hundreds of people. Am I underestimating that number, Jeb, when I say hundreds of people?
I think we're talking thousands and nationwide,
okay.
Millions.
Millions nationwide, thousands here locally. Let's take a look at the shot. We have No Kings protests happening throughout the area, and as Jeb just mentioned, throughout the country, millions protesting. This is a live look. This is a view from up high at First Ward Park. This is just one of the protests, one of the rallies happening. And so you may be asking, look, what is No Kings protests? You may have heard about it in June, the first iteration. Well, let me give you some background. So 4 months after, and this is on our website right now for more information if you want to check it out on WCNC.com and on our mobile app. But let me read you what we have. 4 months after millions of Americans participated in No Kings protests across the U.S. against President Donald Trump, organizers are setting up for demonstrations that you see right here. They're already out. On June 14th, millions of Americans took to the streets protesting the president's rise to power with signs, music, and dancing. The same day, Trump was planning to celebrate his 79th birthday. So again, that's sort of a background of what happened in June. Again, it's the second iteration of that. 5 million people hit the streets nationwide during that time. So we are expecting about the same across the country today. So this is a live look at First Ward Park. So this, Charlotte, just one of the areas, First Ward Park, Uptown, just one of the areas. But there are No Kings protests happening across our area, across North Carolina, Albemarle, Belmont, again, Charlotte, Concord, Cornelius, Forest City, Lincoln County, Monroe, Morganton, Newton, and Waxhaw. This is a live look right here. We have that shot of Waxhaw. No Kings protests happening there. Those folks are out there this morning. You can take a look at that. I believe that is downtown Waxhaw. We have Walker Lawson there on the scene. You see our photojournalist there getting a look at some of the signs of folks there out there protesting. Again, a similar situation that we saw back in June. And again, we have, and even right now, as I'm speaking about the protests and rallies that are happening here in North Carolina, New York City, as we speak, protesting, having their No Kings rally. This is a look at New York City as folks are there gathering. Do we want to let the folks listen in to before we get to some of our...
I actually think our Bria Smith is standing by.
Oh, is she ready? Okay. All right, so this is, look, our coverage here. You know the deal here on Live Impact News. This is all fluid, so as soon as we get stuff, we try to get it to you. So we have WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith, who is live in Uptown First Ward Park. That first shot we showed you up high. She's on the ground level. Bria, good morning. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, Nick, good morning. Well, we're definitely seeing, I'm sure you could see some protesters here walking by. I could hear the crowd cheering, not sure what they're cheering about, but you could hear it just on the streets here. But people have all kinds of signs. People are dressed up. Really just, I mean, you could take a look here as people walk by, Nick. I'll step out of the view there so you can see just pouring out on the streets. People walking from very far distances just to make sure that their voices are heard. So here in a second, we will head into the park to see exactly what's going on. Maybe get a chance to speak to some people about why they're here and why this is so important to them. So we'll have that in just a little bit as we head into First Ward Park, Nick.
All right, Bria Smith there at First Ward Park as folks continuing to make their way into the park for this rally. It's set to happen from 10 to 12. Obviously, folks got there earlier. And what will happen, there will be a rally, then there will be a march, a 1 mile march, from my understanding, back to First Ward Park. All right, so we showed you that shot there in Waxhaw, Union County. We want to take you back there now. Our Walker Lawson is there covering the protest. Walker, I asked you the same question as Bria. What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
No more billionaires.
Yeah, Nick,
well. Good morning, obviously. We are seeing a lot of people lining up the streets of downtown Waxhaw. Of course, there's about 6 to about 8 corners where they're trying to fill up, so people are kind of moving around. But as you can see, most of the signs up here, again, saying no kings, again, saying no thrones. A lot of cars blowing horns behind us. Many people that either are not out here with these people, what we've noticed is almost every single car going through has been blowing horns as well. Also, last time there was a no kings protest here, our photographer was actually out there because this is seemingly the same. What they say has brought them out here and why they are out here again gathering today in downtown.
All right, Walker Lawson out there. As you can hear, look, it is so loud that, honestly, quite frankly, it's hard to hear Walker because so many people are out there, so many people are protesting Walker. We'll check in with you in just a second. And again, if you're just now tuning in here on WCNC Plus Live Impact News, we talked about sort of the background of what this is, No Kings demonstrations. No Kings demonstrations, basically, folks, millions of people across the country protesting the direction of the country under the leadership of President Donald Trump. People are gathering in the nation's capital and different communities across the U.S., from New York City to, as you saw there, Waxhaw, First Ward Park, all across the area. But however, the Republican Party and President Donald Trump basically calling these demonstrations, quote, hate America rallies. And just to kind of give you some more background, this is the third mass mobilization since Trump returned to the White House in January. It is expected to be the largest today. You see folks are out early on Saturday morning on the streets. Again, this is Waxhaw, Jeb, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, this is another look at Waxhaw. We just checked in with Walker Lawson. Again, it's loud there. So bear with us. Again, this is a fluid, Live Impact News is a fluid show. So as we get things, we will bring it to you. But you could just hear folks out there. You see folks there with the signs. You see folks waving the flag. I'll read one sign because it is appropriate to read, but it says, "Hands off our democracy." So I said New York City. And you see Waxhaw. We showed New York City earlier, but also Atlanta. This is a look at the No Kings protests in Atlanta. Do we have an exact location on this one, Jeb? Do you know for sure? I hate to put you on the spot like this.
No, you're good. Let me do some
I'm trying
looking here.
I worked in Atlanta for 2.5 years. So I'm trying to. This looks familiar, but I don't want to guess. It's been some time since I worked in Atlanta, but that just shows you again. So many communities, just not just here in the Charlotte area, not just here in North Carolina, but across the country, millions of folks. And again, this looks like it's expected to be the largest demonstration nationwide in the third mass mobilization since Trump's return to the White House back in January. Now, according to AP News, President Trump is away from Washington, D.C. He's in Mar-a-Lago at his home there in Florida. So that's where President Trump is. And again, I want to read another quote from AP News, and it reads, this is from President Trump, quote, "They say they're referring to me as a king. I am not a king." That's what Trump said in a Fox News interview that aired early yesterday before he left for a fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago. So again, protests happening everywhere from Waxhaw to Charlotte to Atlanta to New York City. No Kings protests happening, and it looks like we have a podium set up in First Ward Park. I don't know if we are able to hear what he is saying. Jeb's going to check it out. Okay, so let's tune in. Let's listen to what's being said right now. Again, this is Uptown, First Ward Park.
Every one of you is demonstrating your First Amendment right to peacefully assemble and redress the grievances to your government. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Yes. Now listen, I like to talk to people, and so this is one of my favorite things. On the way over here, the young man who was driving me over here is from Venezuela, and he is here as a person who has come for political asylum. And I said, what do you think needs to happen in Venezuela? And he said, it took us a long time to get there, and it's going to take us a long time to get out. But he said, the first thing my people have to do is believe. Believe that things can be different. And you all have started that. You guys believe things can be different, right? Right. All right. So here's what I need everybody to do. This is the first step in the process. This is the first step in the process to you all being freedom fighters for the country that you love. When you leave here today, here's what I want you to do. I want you to make yourself a plan. What am I going to do? I'm going to do one thing every day. I'm not asking you to push that rock up the hill by yourself. None of us can do that. But if you do one thing every day that is for the betterment of your community, your neighborhood, your country, whatever it is, you are doing the right thing. Guys, our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our fathers, our sons and daughters are going to need more help now than they have ever needed. And are you all going to help them? Yes. Yes, you are going to help them. And so what I am asking from you is to do that one thing, to bring new people, to say, look, I'm not asking you to make 100 phone calls a day. I'm not asking you to go to a march with me. What I am asking you to do is say, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? When you look in the mirror that is America, what do you see? Do you like it? And if you don't, do something about it. And that's what you all have started today. So when you guys step off on that march today, know that those are the first steps towards a new America, not the last steps. These are the first things you're going to do. Showing up is the first thing. Now, when you get home, as I said, find that one more person. Find those two more people. You all can do this. We all will do this together. And I want to close with this because I know somebody's going to get mad at me for talking too long. Oh, she already said time's up. I know. I promise I'm done. There is a gentleman who most of you probably don't know. His name was Admiral Jim Stockdale, and he was in prison for 8 years. And he came up with this thing. He said, we must accept, not like, but accept the nature of our situation, right? 100%. But he said, we must also match that with the belief that we will ultimately prevail. Yeah. Will we ultimately prevail? Yeah. Woo! Thank you all.
Thank you, Reed. Next up, we have Reverend Dr. Janet Garner Mullins, minister, educator, and advocate. She challenges inequities across healthcare, education, and civic life. Serves on boards including Healthcare Justice North Carolina and the Reimagining Project. Welcome, Reverend Dr. Janet Garner Williams.
Wow, don't you all look great? I greet you today not as a subject of broken systems, but as a witness to truth. We are gathered here, people of every background, every lived truth, every dream, not to bow to power, but to demand justice, because we refuse to accept the cruelty of our healthcare system that treats survival like luxury. No kings, no corporate crowns, no crumbs for the people. We stand shoulder to shoulder because we believe in something bigger than profit margins. We believe in the sacred worth of everyone. Right now, 16 million of our neighbors are losing their health insurance because premiums, tax credits are vanishing. Medicaid cuts slicing through our neighborhoods like a blade. Rural hospitals are closing their doors, and medical debt is chaining families in poverty. No kings, no crowns. And every year, 17,000 lives are lost, not to illness, but to policy, to profit, to silence. That's not a broken system. It's a system working exactly the way it was designed. To serve the few and forsake the many. But we know another way. Every other wealthy nation has that. has chosen it, and it's called universal health care. It's called dignity. It's called justice. We don't need more Band-Aids on bullet wounds. We need real change at the root where decisions shape our lives. We must create a nation whose laws uplift the majority, not just the powerful, and where no one's life is based on how much income you have. Health care should be a guarantee for all, not just a privilege. And let me be clear, this is not about coverage, it's about care. It's about community that can thrive, elders that can live in dignity, and children that can grow up without fear. And workers don't have to choose between a paycheck and a prescription. We're not asking for miracles, we're demanding what's already ours. The right to live, to heal, to be whole. So I ask you, join us, help us raise our voices, and know that we are better together. And we're contributing to getting better together. Now, if you are standing there, lock arms with the person next to you, hold the hands to the person next to you, and repeat after me. No kings. No kings. No crumbs. No crumbs. Just care. Just care. Just justice. Just justice. Just us. Just us.
Our next speaker is Lou Lassane. He's a Charlotte civil rights attorney for nearly 40 years, focused on labor, consumer protection, and free speech. A Vietnam veteran and 2022 Davidson College Distinguished Alumni Award recipient. Welcome, Lou.
Aliarse también a otras ciudades del país en esta manifestación, que es la segunda que se hace en este año. La primera se realizó en junio.
Hello, Charlotte. What a great day to exercise our First Amendment rights and to get out and say how much we love these United States and our democracy. A little footnote before I get into my remarks. I want to make it clear. Reed talked about Admiral Stockdale spending 8 years in prison. Just so there's no mistaking, that was 8 years that he spent as a prisoner of war in a North Vietnamese POW camp. Yes. Not as a felon in the U.S. So I was asked to speak to you today about civil rights, but I really want to speak about civil right. One civil right, the right to vote, and specifically the right to have your vote counted. You may know what I'm talking about is gerrymandering. There are two catastrophes waiting to happen at this very moment right around us. One of them is this past Wednesday, the Trump Justice Department, I have to put justice in parentheses, was in the Supreme Court arguing that the Voting Rights Act is unconstitutional because it discriminates against white people. And what's scary is it looks like the Supreme Court may be, it appears that the Supreme Court may be willing to buy that argument. If they do, what's going to happen in the southern states is we're going to lose up to 12 congressional seats that have so far been allowed to have black Congress people holding those seats. The other piece of it is that this is the sole remaining judicial oversight or handcuffing of state legislatures to review gerrymandering decisions. If that goes, every state legislature in the country, including ours, is subject to unlimited gerrymandering. The other catastrophe, I'm about to run out of time before I get started. The other catastrophe is in 2 days from now, next Monday, the Republican leadership in our General Assembly is calling the leadership back to re-gerrymander our congressional districts. North Carolina currently has 14 congressional seats. We're a purple state. We should have 7 Democrats and 7 Republicans. Instead, what we have right now is 10 Republicans and 4 Democrats. That's not enough for Trump. Trump has specifically demanded of the Republican leadership of our General Assembly, he wants more. So after Monday, we're going to have 11 Republican seats for the election in 2026 and 3 Democrats. That's the way it's going to work. So what are we going to do? We're going to vote. That goes to everybody here who already votes, I know that. We're also going to get involved. We're going to volunteer with candidates. We're going to donate money. 2026 is basically here. You probably are seeing those advertisements already, particularly the ones asking for money. So give money. We need to do this next year. We want to have Roy Cooper as our next governor, our next senator, excuse me. And we want to keep Anita Earls on the North Carolina Supreme Court. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Lou. Next we have Sharon Dove, immigration attorney, former director of the Immigrant Justice Program at the Charlotte Center for Legal Advocacy, owner of the Sharon Dove Law Firm, practicing since 1998. Welcome, Sharon.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for allowing me the opportunity to speak here. I'm here to let you know that the fear is real in the immigrant community. Oh, okay. My undocumented clients are terrified to leave their homes. They're terrified to go to the convenience store down the street. They're terrified to go to church. Many are not sending their children to school. They don't know what to do. They call me to find some hope, some possible way to obtain status that I or another immigration attorney might have missed. I have nothing for them. An asylum client called me a few weeks back asking what will happen if the immigration court denies her asylum application. I had to tell her that she and her 2-year-old daughter will be detained and deported. I also had to tell her that, given the current administration, it is very likely that her asylum claim will be rejected. I told her that one way immigrants in the past have avoided detention is by dropping their asylum claims and agreeing to voluntary departure. But I said this is technically still a possibility for her, but had to clarify that this administration is so cruel that it is not even agreeing to voluntary departure. For this administration, nothing is more important than the visual of rounding up as many immigrants as possible. You know, one thing that conservatives like to say is they're not anti-immigrant. They just think people should come here in the right way. Well, a large majority of the people who have come to the U.S. in the last 2 years of the Biden administration came here the right way. Our government gave them humanitarian parole, and they settled into work and raised their families here, only to have the Trump administration terminate their parole and leave them stranded without status and without work authorization. There is lots to be done, but seeing you all out there this morning gives me hope that we will overcome this very dark period in our history.
Thank Thank you, Sharon. Next we have Cameron Pruitt. As a member of the Human Rights Campaign Board of Governors, he mobilizes pro-equality voters across North Carolina. As executive director of the Freedom Center for Social Justice, built an interfaith coalition to support Medicaid expansion. Welcome, Cameron.
Good morning, Queen City! In Charlotte, we say no kings, no dictators, free America! Thank you for being here today. As Reed Galen said earlier, this is the first step in our march to taking our country back, of supporting our neighbors. So thank you for showing up today. We need you, every one of you, to continue to take the next step and the next action. So I'm going to ask you to commit a little bit more. You've heard about the challenges, and there's so many more that are affecting our people. So when I ask you a question today, I just want you to respond with, "We the people." All right, so let's try that out. Who will stand up for our country? We the people. Who will stand up to would-be tyrants? We the people. Those are the words that open up our Constitution. This is a document that has been trampled upon. Our people's rights are being destroyed and targeted and attacked. Down Central Avenue, off Albemarle Road, across our city, unaccountable ICE agents are abducting our neighbors. They have gone into school pickup lines and taking parents away from their children. They are staying in church parking lots to stage their tyranny and their terror, using our houses of worship as places for their bigotry and their evil. So I ask you, who will stand up for our immigrant neighbors? Who will show up when ICE is on our streets? We the people must mean all the people. Tyrants only have tools of fear and division. We have seen right here in our community what happens when trans people are targeted again and again and again. So many are being hurt, homeless, and even Atrium Health has decided to pre-comply with this administration and stop providing care for trans youth. Let me be clear, pre-compliance, being silent, backing down will save none of us. And I want you to know that LGBTQ folks have always been here and we will not be erased. So I ask you, who will stand with our trans neighbors? Who will refuse to be divided? It is clear that our government does not work for us. In the richest nation in the history of the world, our government is not providing health care. It is not strengthening schools. It is not keeping us safe. It is using fascist tools to villainize homeless people, cut our health care, and advance white supremacy. They're using our tax dollars the only way that they seem to know how to make themselves richer and to cause pain and terror. So I ask you, who must stop the suffering? We the people. Yes, we the people. I want you to know there's no corporation, no court, no cavalry is coming to save us. It must be us, the people, who take our country back. Folks, if I could have just a moment here. We need a medic over here to my right, a medic over here. A medic over here to my right, folks. Who keeps us safe? That's right, we the people. So I ask you, who is going to make sure that all of our neighbors are housed and fed and safe? We the people. And what I want you to know that we the people are not alone. There are thousands of protests in this country and all over the world. Millions of people rising up in this moment. We are not alone. powerful. And we will not be silent. We will not stop. We will stand up to oppression. We will stand up when ICE is in our streets. We will vote. We will protest on bridges and sidewalks. And yes, sometimes we will even wear inflatable bunny and frog suits. Because yes, we will laugh in the face of fascists as we stand together. And I want you to know that I believe and I know that we will win. We the people! We the people! We the people!
All right, Charlotte, who's ready to march? Few details here. The march starts at the corner of 7th and Brevard. If you prefer not to march, we have our organizations, our partner organizations tabling here. Go find out how you can plug in and engage today in our community. You look for all the balloons at those tables. That represents each organization there. Please visit our website, nokingclt.com, and that will also list all the ways you can get involved in all these partner organizations. So stop by and meet the teams and find out how to get involved and work for justice and democracy right here at home. And a quick reminder, somebody talked about voting. We have municipal elections coming up. Early voting starts Thursday. Go be there. Now, to lead us out of the park, please join me in welcoming Kelly Williams back, who will take us forward in song as we head out.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm going to sing a song for you, and then we're going to head out singing together. Broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we're gonna walk.
All right, so you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sertivant. Jeb is also here in studio. So this is a live look, First Ward Park. As we just heard from several speakers here at the No Kings protest there. It is about to wrap up. The song is happening right now. And after this, a 1.1 mile march, and what organizers are calling a call to action. And again, you can see that's the shot from up high. You see so many people there in First Ward Park in Uptown. A lot of people, they have been there for the better part. When did you start seeing people there, Jeb?
Oh, they've been getting out there for hours.
Hours, okay,
I mean,
okay.
This has been a true undertaking. I mean, our crew was there 30 minutes to an hour before, and it already looked like this.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was already packed. So that's the scene there before the march starts. We want to head now to Union County, Waxhaw, where No Kings 2 protest is also happening. Walker Lawson is there. He set the scene for us a little earlier. Walker, what are you seeing there now?
Yeah, well, we are joined by the lovely Diane. You're joining us. She wants to speak a little bit about why you're out here. So why is this personal to you, and why have you decided to come out here?
Well, first off, all the people here are from Waxhaw, and we all love America. We all really love America. And many of us here have served. I have family members that have served. I am here today for a couple of reasons. One, I want the Epstein files released because I'm sure there's information about our president in there and the public needs to know. Secondly, I want the federal government reopened. I have a son who is considered essential. He works for Homeland. I'm not going to say his name because I want to protect him, but he goes to work every day and he does not get paid. But our Congress people do. but he took an oath, and he goes to work every day to do his job the best that he can. We need the government reopened, and the only way that's going to happen is if the Republicans are willing to allow those subsidies for the ACA to be put back in place. My daughter is losing her insurance on the ACA because it's going to go up to $400 a month. She can't afford that. So that's why I'm here today with these lovely people.
When you look at the crowd out here, are you surprised by the number of people that we're seeing? Are you happy to see the support of people uniting out here?
Absolutely. I went to the first No Kings, and this is a bigger crowd, so more people are turning out and having their voices heard.
Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Okay, thank you.
Again, as she said, we're seeing people that are lined up throughout the streets of Waxhaw. As you can see, there are about 8 to 10 people lined up. Again, standing with signs, again, saying No Kings. Again, as we're just for the most part, again, with their signs placed up down here in downtown.
So that is Walker Lawson there in Waxhaw. A lot happening, obviously, as you saw and you heard that woman who was at the first No Kings protest there and is back for the second one. So many people there, again, protesting and pushing back against President Donald Trump and the Trump administration. Walker, we'll check in with you in just a little bit as things continue to evolve. Again, folks are there in Waxhaw. We have folks in First Ward Park and Charlotte. So many people out there. We had the view from up high, and it just shows you just how many people are there. People are leaving First Ward Park and starting to spill into the street as they prepare for that 1.1 mile march. This is a live look. So many people, as Jeb mentioned earlier, this was slated to start at 10 a.m., but hours before this event, that's when you start seeing folks gather in Uptown. And look, these are not the only locations, Waxhaw, Charlotte, where these No Kings protests. There are several. We have a list on our website. I just want to list some of the cities. Albemarle, Belmont, obviously Charlotte, Concord, Cornelius, Forest City, Lincoln County, Monroe, Morganton, Newton. You saw Waxhaw, but not only in North Carolina, South Carolina, Fort Mill, Indianland, Rock Hill. These are just areas alone in our viewing area. So as you see that big crowd there in First Ward Park, you see folks are starting to make their way to the street where that march will happen any moment now. You can see sort of, because of this view, you get to see sort of all the people shift in waves. But they're making their way to the street, trying to get organized for this march that's about to happen any moment now. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith is there in Uptown. We will check in with her in just a moment. We have other shots across the country. First one I think about is Atlanta, where we have another shot where it's up high. You see that is a look at Atlanta. You see so many people there in Atlanta for that No Kings 2 protest that is being held. This is a live look. This is a live look from up high as folks there are gathering, pushing back against the Trump administration. This third demonstration pushback that has happened since President Trump has taken office, and millions of people nationwide. Miami, also, folks are gathering in Miami. This is a live look there. You see a reporter is getting ready there for a live shot. But we just want to show you what's happening across the country. Miami, you see folks in similar fashion, like in Charlotte and Waxhaw and other places where we have cameras where folks are there with signs in hand. You see a lot of American flags. You see signs that say, take your hands off of my democracy. And so this is a overhead view, a bird's eye view of Miami, the streets there in Miami. So many folks taking the time this Saturday morning to make their voices heard. So I want to read this from AP News. So President Trump, and this is from AP News, he spoke with Fox News in an interview early Friday. He said, quote, "They say they're referring to me as a king. I am not a king." He said that before leaving for Mar-a-Lago for a fundraiser there. He is there now. He is not in D.C., but he's in Mar-a-Lago, his Mar-a-Lago home in Florida. Protesters are actually expected to be there Saturday, today. But again, this is a live look back here at home, a live look at First Ward Park. We heard from speakers, several speakers, and after those speeches wrapped up, we there was a song as folks got ready to hit the streets to march. Any moment now, we are expecting folks to march there through Uptown, 1.1 miles, then back. And look, folks, and these are not just, although we are expecting more people across the country, so a lot of these folks were at the first No Kings protests and decided to come back for the second one. The first one was back in June. You remember we brought you that extensive coverage here on WCNC Plus. You saw so many people expecting more. That was just 4 months ago. And now millions of Americans are participating again in No Kings protests across the country. A huge demonstration, the one back on June 14th, was the same day President Trump was celebrating his 79th birthday. And there were protests surrounding sort of that celebration of his birthday. At that time, 5 million people crowded the streets nationwide. And so just to kind of give you perspective, I know I listed some protests, and we showed you protests happening across the country. I mean, you're talking about 2,500 individual marches today. A lot of marches happening, and we have a lot of live pictures, as many live pictures as we can. We're going to take you there. And a lot, at least 16 in the Charlotte area. This shot right here, Jeb, what shot is this? Oh, this is in Charlotte. This is First Ward. Okay, so it looks like they're getting ready. I actually see one of the organizers that we had here on Live Impact News for an interview sort of laying out the message behind this demonstration. So it looks like they are getting ready. Our camera is there on the ground. Bria Smith is there talking to folks on the ground, so we will hear from her shortly. That camera there on the ground is working to get in position to catch folks as they march along uptown and then back 1.1 miles. But this is a overhead view just to give you perspective on how massive this is. Jeb, you were here back in June. Would you say this one is bigger in context?
Yeah, I mean, and you can see the march. It looks like it's just kicking off there, kind of on the top of your screen. Yeah, this really does look like there's more people. I mean, I'll tell you, when we were there earlier this year, we were kind of astonished. You know, Charlotte isn't the city that has had protests of this side recently. Of this size, excuse me. So to see this many people, I mean, they estimated that last time, and our great photographer Ben Green, following this march here. You know, this is thousands of people. They estimate we had the organizers on our show yesterday. They said there was about 4,000 people registered online, and if the last protest was any indication, that was about half of the amount of people who ended up showing up. So they had about 4,000 people register last time, and 8,000 people showed up. So they were expecting about the same here. And I'll tell you, looking at this, I mean, this is quite the scene. I mean, I haven't seen a parade like this since the when Charlotte FC plays. So it is interesting to see so many people out there. And I'll actually bring you down to a ground shot. You can see, and I do want to warn, some of the signs, some of the language you hear may be vulgar. You know, we can't control that, but we do want to show you raw, unedited feeds of what people are seeing down in that protest. But that's kind of what it looks like. And I'll bring up the aerial shot again because it is so great. And
we were kind of like anticipating this march to happen. We saw folks making their way from the park to the street, and so now you just see people just slowly moving, and it's just 1.1 miles. But
that's a 20-minute walk.
But it's a lot of people to move.
Yeah, I mean it's literally, I would guess, and I mean you look at that amazing shot on the right there. I mean, that is a steady stream of people.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we have, that's a ground level shot, that's an aerial shot. And so many people, like you heard from a woman in Waxhaw, she wants the Epstein files to be released. But there are other people with other grievances regarding the Trump administration. Right now, we are in day 18 of the government shutdown. Folks voicing their opposition to that who are at this protest. And GOP leaders, look, they have come out and spoken against these protests. I'm reading some of the what GOP. I'm sort of filtering out in real time what they're calling these protesters, but basically describing these rallies as hate America rallies. And so, again, this is No Kings demonstration, a pushback against the Trump administration. Third mass mobilization. If you take a step back and look across the country. Since President Trump returned to the White House. And again, as you see there, and as Jeb mentioned, to put it in context, expected to be the largest. You see folks out there on the street marching as we speak. You see Bria Smith getting situated there on the ground, ready to give us an update whenever she can. She's been talking to folks there on the ground, been there since this morning. Let's check in with Bria Smith. Bria, can you hear me? What are you seeing? I see you walking with the folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just actually spoke with a young girl who moved here from Boston recently, Nick, and she said that she actually did get emotional to see the amount of people. She wasn't expecting this many people to be here supporting the same message that she had, which was that everyone was equal, and that it made her sad that her people, where she came from, had to go through what they were going through. But she's also proud that this many people are supporting that same message, and she just hopes that people take away, peace from this entire protest. So gonna still continue to talk to more people here, Nick, but as you can see, the walk did just start. There's a lot of people, a lot of signs, and everyone's just kind of mimicking that same message as peace and a better tomorrow.
Yeah, you see people from different ages, different backgrounds. I see a woman right behind Bria says, "No troops in our streets," referring to the National Guard presence in cities like Chicago, also Memphis, Tennessee. Bria there walking with folks there at the rally. Again, folks from different backgrounds, different ages, walking that 1.1 mile walk in Uptown. Bria, we'll check in with you in just a little bit as she continues to talk to folks on the ground there in Uptown, First Ward Park. So First Ward Park, let me set the scene for you. There was a rally to begin with. Then eventually folks, we heard from several speakers, and folks made their way to the street. So that march just kicked off within like the last 5 to 10 minutes. And we showed you that aerial shot of it. Uptown Charlotte, not the only place where there are protests and where this No Kings demonstration is happening. We want to take you back now to Waxhaw. We've been checking in with Walker Lawson. A lot happening there. It's been loud there. I can hear it now through your mic, Walker. Walk us through what is happening.
Myself as close as I can so you guys can hear me, but obviously people are chanting again, saying no kings. A message that we really heard from people was they wanted to prove that some people had said that these were not protesting. They also, this is their, they love it as much as anyone else here. So again, just trying to spread the message of liberty and justice for all is what we see on the signs. We see veterans out here, veterans out past, signs that read, of course, we're in downtown Waxhaw, so the biggest issue we're seeing is cars coming through this area. Again, people trying to walk around. So again, if you're out and about, just being mindful as you're driving through these smaller communities or towns, as a lot of people are out crossing the streets.
Walker, before I let you go, I know you talked with one woman who said basically, this is my second time out here. I want the Epstein files released. Have you talked to other folks, their reasons for being out there as well?
Yeah, of course. Well, everyone again is saying, I mean, I will say the Epstein files is something we've heard a lot of in conversation, but again, just saying that they want the government back open since the shutdown. They said it's been too long. You know, we did speak to that woman who said her son is a federal worker and is not getting paid right now, and she believes that elected officials should not be getting paid during this time frame, while people like her son that work in the government are not getting paid. So again, you're hearing Medicare and Medicaid being chanted at us. So again, just an array of topics that have brought people out here again today.
All right, Walker. Yeah, a lot happening there. Folks have been out there for hours. Walker, we'll check in with you in a little bit. And again, so many issues that folks want their voices to be heard on, from Epstein files to health care, the federal government shutdown that is taking place. And so many people, it falls under one big umbrella with this No Kings protest. And basically, just to sum it up, it's they're pushing back against GOP leaders, the Trump administration, and No Kings protest is the second iteration of it. Back in June, we saw crowds similar to this in places like Uptown and all over our area. Just to give you perspective, about 16 demonstrations are happening in our area alone. 2,500, about 2,500. I've been seeing anywhere between 2,500 to 2,600. So I will say just under 3,000 individual marches nationwide. So those No King protests happening in our area include Albemarle, Belmont, of course, Charlotte, Concord, Cornelius, Ford City, Lincoln County, Monroe, Morganton, Newton, Waxhaw, as you just heard there, downtown Waxhaw, Fort Mill, now over the state line in South Carolina, Fort Mill, Indianland, Rock Hill, and also in Greensboro. We are going to check in with that protest in Greensboro in just moments. We have our content partners there, WFNY, covering the No Kings protest, and again, it's happening all over. We did have a shot in Miami. I don't know if that one is still happening. Atlanta, New York City was going on for some time before we got on. We had a shot of that rally. We heard from some speakers there. Our nation's capital in Florida. I read near President Trump's home, Mar-a-Lago home in Florida. There will be protests. And President Trump is not in D.C. He's in Mar-a-Lago right now. This is okay. So we have a live look at the rally there in D.C. You can see there, folks, again, in similar fashion, on the side of the road, holding signs. We've seen a lot of American flags. That has been the case at these No Kings protests, this second iteration of the protest. I want to check. We'll see what our content partners there at in DC are reporting. WUSA. Let me read you what. So background. So according to WUSA 9, there in DC, and you see a sign there that says, "We the people love democracy." So according to WUSA 9, our content partners there in Washington, D.C., thousands are expected to descend on the district for the No Kings rally. And so these rallies have been, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, the largest in the country since President Trump returned to the White House for a second term. So they are keeping an eye on that. I'm working to see if they have some more information for us on our website, or on their website, I should say. Okay, about the same as what we have, but just trying to get you specific areas, landmarks if you're familiar with Washington, D.C. But again, this is a live look aerial view from Washington, D.C., where you see folks are just lined up and down the streets there in the district. You see the helicopter there is circling around. And as soon as we get that shot back up, we'll take you back out there to D.C. But let's take you back out to, is this Waxhaw in preview? Yeah. Okay, let's go back now to Waxhaw. So that is happening. So in Monroe County, there are 2 No Kings protests and demonstrations happening there. So this one is in downtown Waxhaw. There's another one in Monroe. I can give you a specific area in Monroe. Well, I don't have one, but in Monroe there is one. We have it listed on our website. So you see signs everywhere. You see American flags being waved. I saw one sign that said "Honk for Democracy." So in Waxhaw, obviously, this is, if you've ever been to Waxhaw, this is a busy part of town, especially on a Saturday. So folks there, you see that sign in the background. Maybe you can see it, "Honk for Democracy." Folks there letting their voices be heard there on the sidewalks throughout downtown, filtered throughout downtown Waxhaw. So Walker Lawson is there. We'll check back in with him in just moments. And as you heard from that live shot, it is loud out there. We don't have the sound on right now, but it is loud out there. And folks are yelling, are, again, letting their voices be heard. Folks are out there for different reasons. We heard a woman out there that said, hey, I want the Epstein files to be released. Or, hey, my son or daughter is a federal worker. And just keep in mind, we're day 18 into the federal government shutdown. Both sides of the aisle pointing the finger at each other. And the big sticking point is healthcare. And so right now, this is, from last check, third longest shutdown in our nation's history. And so Republicans and Democrats are really trying to figure out, an end solution to this shutdown. But again, you see from both sides where we have crews live in downtown Waxhaw, live in uptown Charlotte. We checked in with Bria Smith, who is, and you see Bria walking through uptown where the march is taking place, talking to different people from different backgrounds, people from everywhere throughout the area coming to uptown. You saw that that shot from earlier. I don't know if you saw it, but up high, so many people flooding the streets there. You see this one man, these folks in costume there.
I want to hear from this guy.
Yeah, I am interested to hear from this guy. Can we listen into what? Yep. Let's listen in.
CLARK.
Awesome. So kind of talk to me about, I think what's really interesting is what you're wearing. So kind of talk to me about the message behind your outfit here.
Okay. Lady Liberty needs to put a leash on the lawlessness of the Trump administration.
Absolutely. And kind of talk about, the whole outfit here, though. What went into it? Was it something that was thought out? I know oftentimes messages can come across, with words, but obviously it's powerful when you don't say anything and a message still comes across. So what is that message that you're hoping for?
Well, we're hoping that people will wake up and speak up. Silence is compliance, and what we're seeing going on with the Trump administration, the lawlessness of it all is just too much for us to take. So we got together and brainstormed about what we could do to peacefully protest against what's happening in our country. And I thought, okay, I need to do something with Donald Trump. Well, it's no king, so why not dress him up like Caesar? And then we came up with the idea of her holding the leash, dressed as Lady Liberty, which represents exactly what we want to see happen. The people overcome tyranny.
Absolutely. What do you hope that people take away from this? I did speak to a younger girl earlier who was really emotional to see she just moved from Boston to Charlotte to see this many people, and she was just hoping for positive change. What do you kind of hope people take away from this protest?
I hope people see that the solidarity of the people can overcome the tyranny of a government like the Trump administration. That's what we hope, because everybody everybody needs to get out and vote. The midterms are going to be crucial to that. We've got to retake Congress.
Absolutely. Very lastly, there are young, old, middle age, all here, but it's really inspiring to see younger kids, right, here. What does that make you feel?
It makes me feel great. It makes me feel like the younger generations are waking up to what's going on. I remember when I was coming up, I was really concerned that there was so much apathy around what's going on, and I think that's largely what got us to where we are today.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, so that was Bria, a live interview there. Again, some folks there in costume. He talked about the reason behind his costume. And in the background, folks chanting USA there. So many people there. It's a 1.1 mile march through Uptown, started in First Ward Park. But there's a lot of people, and it's going to take some time. Again, that is the gentleman there that our Bria Smith just interviewed there. So yeah, we'll get back to Bria in just a bit, check in on things as they develop there in Uptown. We want to take you back now to Waxhaw, downtown Waxhaw, where our Walker Lawson is back there. So Walker, just catch us up. What is happening? Who did you talk to? What are they saying?
Yeah, we've spoken to some residents down here in Waxhaw again that are just kind of voicing their concerns with what they want to see. Obviously, they said this is a country for everyone and they want people to feel welcome. Again, signs up saying no kings, no thrones, no crowns, no kings. I'm going to safely walk up the street just so you can kind of see just how far it goes. But we have an array of people that are down all of the main streets in downtown Waxhaw. Again, you can see defend democracy. Again, different American flags up flying. So again, trying to just be safe here behind us. And then we have a sign up that says, fear is the tool of tyrants, be fearless. So again, people out here, you'll also see, this is on every street in downtown Waxhaw. So you'll see across the street from us, when you look even further down into downtown Waxhaw, again, people are chanting right now. As you can hear them there saying, this is what democracy looks like. So again, just a message of people just coming out to support again. So we'll be live here in Waxhaw throughout the afternoon. Back to you guys.
Walker, have you asked folks? I know they've been there for a while. Did they sort of tell you how long they expect to be there in Waxhaw?
They did not give us an exact time, but we'll kind of ask around and see. And kind of checking with people. But again, I think as of right now, it's just getting people out. It started around 10. There were already some people set up around 9:30. So we've really seen that number increase. We're still seeing more and more people show up as we move through this protest out here in Raleigh, of people that are, again, just gathering in downtown Waxhaw. As I mentioned to you earlier, it's been kind of hectic in this downtown area because there's a lot of cars coming through here. So again, for people maybe might not want to drive through the downtown Waxhaw area. Again, as you can see, people are sitting in standstill traffic in this area.
Yeah, something you want to keep in mind. Yeah, if you're planning to navigate through downtown Waxhaw, a lot happening there with the No Kings 2 protests happening there. Walker, we'll check in with you in just a bit. Thank you there for that update. All right, so that is the scene in Waxhaw. I believe we have somebody on. Okay, well, we were just getting a shot of the sign. I didn't know if they were going to interview them in Uptown. I'm just taking a look at the different feeds. I just want to be as transparent as possible. What I'm seeing, what Jeb is seeing. But that march continues. Again, you see folks here in Waxhaw holding signs, standing along the sidewalks there in downtown Waxhaw. Meanwhile, there is a march happening through the streets of Uptown. This is Waxhaw. Oh, this is Uptown. That was Waxhaw. This is Uptown. And you see so many folks there waving American flags with signs. People of all ages, as I could see, different backgrounds. With, again, it falls under the umbrella of pushing back against the Trump administration. There are numerous reasons why people are out here, but it falls under the umbrella of, hey, we don't like what the Trump administration is doing, and we want to do something about it. And doing something about it is with this demonstration. This is the second demonstration. The first one was back in June. Different Okay, two reasons. Right. First one, it was really hot out there. And I think, and there was a concern about, I remember into the planning, I wasn't here for that. We had Jane Monreal anchoring the coverage.
Yeah, that was a real concern. They had hydration stations. I mean, that was they wanted to make sure everyone was drinking enough water, getting in shade, staying out of the sun, because it was a big concern. Now, I mean, if you're going to spend a day walking around Uptown, being out there, considerably better weather.
Considerably. It is a lot better. You see folks there with sweatshirt, shorts, so it just kind of gives you, it's a fall day here in North Carolina, just to describe it.
I mean, it's going to be a beautiful day. We're going to hit low 80s towards at the peak of the day. Like, it's a good day to get out.
So, again, not much of a concern as far as folks. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen, but not much of a concern as it was back in June. And obviously now, the big difference is we're under a government shutdown. We've been on this, we're entering week 3 of the government shutdown. We're in day 18 of the government shutdown. It looks like, and it is, and it's not even it looks like, it is at a stalemate. Both sides are pointing the finger at each other, blaming each other for the shutdown. We've heard from House Speaker Mike Johnson, a daily press conference. We've heard from Senator Chuck Schumer, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. We've heard from other GOP leaders, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, about the shutdown, the impacts. Again, them blaming each other for the shutdown. So we have this live shot. What shot is this? It's Waxhaw. Okay. This is still Waxhaw. So it's Waxhaw there. We got an update from our Walker Lawson, who is there in Waxhaw. Giving us an update on things and how it looks out there. So they've been out there, I believe Walker said around 9:30 is when folks are setting up, and gradually throughout the morning, more people have shown up to this. And I just want to point out, I know I've pointed out this again, and it just kind of gives you some perspective, some context on how large these demonstrations. So you're talking about, we have on our website 2,500 individual marches. I've seen 2,600 posted and reported. So yeah, a lot of marches, thousands of marches happening. 16 protests just in Charlotte alone. Albemarle, here in Waxhaw, Belmont, Charlotte, what we just showed you, Concord, Cornelius, Forest City, Lincoln County, Monroe, Morganton, Newton, Waxhaw, and also in our viewing area, but in South Carolina, Fort Mill, Indianland, Rock Hill. I do want to point out Greensboro, because we'll be getting an update from Greensboro. We showed you shots across the country from New York City, Miami, Washington, D.C., Atlanta. And those are just several out of, again, the thousands that are happening right now. Millions of people, 5 million people last time back in June. We're expecting more people today as folks, for instance, in First Ward Park in Uptown, were there for hours before it was slated to start. And we showed the aerial view of so many people up high. But this is a look at downtown Waxhaw right now. You see folks there with the American flags. I'm going to see if I can read some of the signs. One sign says "No Kings." The other sign I can read, "I can tell my grandchildren I did not stay silent." I can tell my grandchildren I did not stay silent. So I'm trying to filter out some of these signs and make sure they are appropriate to read. And I just want to put this out there in case you see something that is inappropriate. I just want to let you know that that could be the case and give you a heads up. This is a raw, unfiltered video, unedited video. This is what Live Impact News is. So that could happen. Were you about to say something, Jeb?
We're Uptown now.
Okay, Uptown. This is a live look in Uptown. All right, so this is a ground level shot there in Uptown as that march continues. Bria Smith has been keeping up with the folks there in Uptown, talking to several folks. One guy in a President Trump costume, along with a woman who was dressed as Lady Liberty. Again, folks with different reasons, but all under the same umbrella. pushing back against the Trump administration. So you see folks there making their way through Uptown. This is a 1.1 mile march through Uptown. That folks are making their way after a rally. There was a rally earlier in First Ward Park where we heard from several speakers. We also had a young lady sing before the march officially kicked off. You see Bria Smith there talking to folks, getting a real sense of what's happening there on the ground. Are we ready to take Bria? All right, so let's go to Bria. She's talking to somebody right now. Let's take a listen in.
Awesome, and we can walk and talk.
Yeah, sure.
So talk to me a little bit about, why you're here today. I see your sign. I hear you chanting. The energy is high. What are you feeling so far?
What could I start at? One, I'm from New York, so I know all about Donald Trump. So I already knew he was full of, excuse my language, full of shit. Just look at where we are now in the country. Everything's getting taken away from us. Now, soon our voters' rights get ready to be taken away from us. I mean, like, when is it ever going to stop? You know, the GOP, they don't care about us. They don't care about the poor. They don't care about the middle class. All they worry about is the rich. You know, like God said, he said, you take care of everyone.
Right.
You take care of everyone in the world. And I don't, it's just sad what's going on. I cannot believe what we are here in this time in 2025.
Right.
And I'm just sick about it. Everything's wrong.
You took a big, deep sigh when I asked you that question before. What was that? What was that?
It's just,
Describe
I just
that.
can't believe that we are here. That's why that sigh is here, because my son, he's in the military, and he's fighting for this country also. And, it's sad. I'm about to cry because it's just sad what's going on.
Take a moment.
I can't believe that we are here in this time of day. And that's why I'm here and I'm protesting this. We got to do something, and I don't know what it is, but I hope something's got to change.
Yeah, and very lastly, Corliss, I have seen young, old, but it's really inspiring to see younger kids here.
Right.
What kind of message do you think that sends to?
Us to keep going and fighting, and don't stop. Don't stop, because that's what they want us to do. We gotta keep on fighting the depression of this, what's going on in this world. And, if this is what it is, that's what we gotta do. And everybody need to come out. We gotta take care of our ancestors. As far as me, we did it, and now we gotta do it again. It's a shame, but here we are.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time and what you're doing.
No problem. Thank you so much. You too.
Oh, such an emotional interview there. A woman there, she says she's from New York and is here in Charlotte, lives here in Charlotte. We want to go now to Waxhaw because our Walker Lawson is talking to somebody there on the ground there at that protest there. Let's take a listen in.
Are you surprised by the number of people that have shown up?
I'm not, no, because I was with Indivisible years ago before they did the redistricting and they moved to Charlotte. And so I went to Rock Hill one time and said, well, where is everybody? And nobody knew, but I said, you know what? I'm going to start this thing. And
When you sit here and you look at not only Waxhaw, the city of Charlotte, you're looking at all of these different protests that are happening nationwide. Are you hoping the president's watching? Are you hoping that this administration is sitting there?
he's watching. I'm not sure he's happy. But got to give a lot of credit to Ezra. He's really pulled this movement together, and he gave us all good training videos on how to de-escalate. Unfortunately that lady got hit, but she was warned several times not to keep crossing the road so much. So, sometimes people get excited and they don't think, but we try. And this is the first time I've known of an injury happening, and it wasn't deliberate. It was just excitement.
You're looking here, we are in downtown Waxhaw. It's a very busy area. Not only are people not just standing out here, but they're blowing their horns. I think it hasn't stopped. They literally could barely hear my microphone when we were live earlier. Do you love that even though people are not maybe specifically standing out here, they're still blowing their horns, still showing support?
Yes, and from the beginning, it was obvious that most of the people were with us. Far more were with us than against. WBT covered our first one, and they skewed it, so it made it look like there were as many protesters as counter-protesters. And I started talking to WCNC ever since, and I've been really happy. You guys have done great coverage. I don't watch BT anymore.
Final message to people that maybe are sitting at home and agree with you guys but haven't decided to step out.
Yes, actually, I have a friend that was scared to come to these rallies. She was afraid of what might happen, and by knowing me, she's gotten much more interested, and she actually helped with some background stuff. So, again, courage is contagious, and we're all out here, and we're happy. We're wearing yellow to show our support for happiness.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
What's your name?
Walker.
Walker. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that is one of the folks out there in downtown Waxhaw at the No Kings demonstration there. Gave us a shout out there. Thank you for watching and tuning in with us. And thank you here at home, folks at home, wherever you may be, for tuning in for the special coverage and the special extensive coverage here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, as we take you to different No Kings rallies, not only here in our area, but in North Carolina and all across the country. They are happening. And we kicked off our coverage at 10, and we have seen marches start. We have seen some of these rallies grow in size. And just some background, Indivisible, which is the organization sort of leading a lot of these protests, just to give you a background on who they are. So I just want to read from their website. Quote, "We are the Charlotte area hub for civic activism, originally called Indivisible NC District 9. Our membership started as constituents from the NC 9th Congressional District. Since 2017, we have grown to not only encompass the Charlotte area, but have members from across the state and across the country. In 2023, we changed our name to Indivisible Charlotte to reflect our regional activism." And just one more tidbit on them, just to give you some more background on the group leading this. And not just Indivisible, but there are other community advocacy groups working with them as well. But Indivisible, quote, says, "We believe that democracy is not a spectator sport. Our power is rooted in action, creating opportunities for folks to get involved in their community while strategically building political infrastructure." All right, so we want to go back now to Uptown, not First Ward Park. That's where the rally started, but Uptown, that's where the march is continuing. It looks like our Bria Smith is talking to some more folks there on the ground. She's been covering this, marching with the folks. Let's take a listen in.
Madison Butler. So talk to me about, obviously, you have your daughter here with you, the importance of bringing your kids here to not only see but take part.
Yeah, I think it's important that you understand what you stand for and what your values are. And we believe that the most important thing is community, and that's a diverse group of people where all people are equal and all people are loved. And so I just want my kids to be able to stand up for that and that we take part and don't sit silently.
You said your name was Madison, correct? You're young. How old are you?
14.
14. What does it mean for you to be here? So you're just entering high school, huh? Or eighth grade, for you to be here, and kind of what are you going to share to your classmates about this weekend, what you did this weekend? What does it mean for you?
I just think that everyone's equal and they all deserve the right to be treated the same way, no matter how they describe themselves or who they think they are.
Absolutely. And what does it mean to you to see other young kids, to be here with your siblings as well, and kind of the message that you have for your mom here, that she brought you out here to allow you to experience this?
I think that parents that bring their kids into this are very good parents because they explain things. They don't try to hide it from their kids, and they let them have their own opinions about it.
Absolutely. And Mom, what does it mean? I can see you're getting a little emotional here. Proud mom there. What does it mean to hear your daughter say these words?
I mean, she's a very intelligent young lady, and I want her to feel strong in what she values and what she believes in. And I'm just really proud that I can tell how she treats her classmates and her friends and how she stands up for everybody, even in an environment where that's not necessarily what's being taught at the leadership level.
Absolutely. Very lastly, what is your hope that people take away, the message that they take away from this event? I know there was one back in June, and here's just another one. So what do you hope that people leave here knowing and feeling?
I think I hope they really feel empowered, and that people are around us that feel the same, that believe the same. This isn't about left versus right. It's about what's right and what's wrong. And I believe that our nation is better than this. And I think we have to speak up. We can't stay silent. And I hope this just reminds people that there are folks out there that don't support what's happening right now.
Absolutely. Well, pleasure to meet you both. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was Bria Smith with that live interview there in Uptown. And one of the takeaways just watching these protests and marches as folks get emotional, this is an emotional experience for a lot of people. As you saw there, that woman bringing her kids to Uptown, people there, several of the interviews that we've taken, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeb, a lot of folks have mentioned their sons and daughters, and how they're impacted.
It's a familial affair. I mean, we've seen a lot of families. How about the first one?
Actually, we have another live interview there in First Ward Park. I keep saying First Ward Park, but in Uptown.
Yeah, now we're in Uptown.
In Uptown. Let's take a listen in.
Manat, and I'm the pastor at Light of Christ, LIGHTOFCHRIST, United Methodist Church.
Absolutely, Pastor. So talk to us about why you're here today and the importance of bringing your expertise to the streets of Uptown Charlotte.
No, thank you. I know a lot of people in Charlotte who are affected by the One Big Beautiful bill that will take away their health insurance, folks having a reduction in food stamps. I've already seen an impact in the local food bank. The ministries that we support to feed children who are food insecure have been impacted, and there's really not enough food at the Second Harvest Food Bank even now, and things are going to continue to get worse, so we're very concerned about that.
Absolutely. And now, Pastor, that's something I haven't gotten the chance to really speak to people about. Was I did see signs about health care, Medicaid, things like that, and even some of the things that you mentioned. What are you kind of hoping to share those stories? Obviously, as a pastor, you get the chance to meet these people, and so what are kind of some of the words that they share with you of their struggles?
Right. Well, these are members of my church. I mean, so I know very well their stories, and actually I've interviewed them and taken that information to Senator Budd's office and presented that. And of course, it didn't change the way he voted, but it was in order for him to know that we're not just talking about ideas, we're talking about people with real stories. I have members of my congregation who have told me that it's all about the price of groceries for them. That's why they have trouble making it work. There's other people that for them it's medical expenses, and if they lose their insurance, they won't be able to get medical care that literally saves their lives. So these are not people that I meet out there. These are people who are part of my family.
Absolutely. What is a message that you hope to send by being here? Just you representing yourself, your individual self, but also your congregation as well. What do you hope that people take away?
Yeah, I'm really all about the next generation. I think about my children who are young adults just starting out. I think about people in the LGBTQ plus community who want just to have human rights. I think about people who are coming behind us, whether they will experience democracy or whether they will live in a fascist country. This is the point where we have to raise our voices.
Absolutely. And what do you say, lastly, there are a couple of signs that just say no kings. I even saw one that said Queen Charlotte doesn't allow no kings. What does that mean to you?
Right. I mean, this is a democracy. This is the reason that our founders fought to be free, and we're giving it up. And some of us are gladly doing so, believing lies that are being fed to us. And it's disturbing to see how many people are not awake to understand that our cities are being taken over by the military is being turned against American citizens. And this is a country of immigrants, and to have immigrants arrested who have no criminal background, to have children separated from their families. This is not the country that I was raised in, certainly not the country I want to live in.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right, so that is another live interview there in Uptown. That was a religious leader there speaking out, and why she is there. Again, so many people there for different reasons, but it falls under the umbrella of pushing back against the Trump administration. I just want to point out, because we kind of found out in real time, Nashville, Tennessee, their No Kings rally just kicked off there. This is a live look at that. Jeb and I, we're getting so many feeds that we're like, what is that? We're trying to basically play GeoGuessr on some of these protests. And we were able to see that. Let's go out to Greensboro now. So Greensboro, our content partner is there. Okay, so you see a reporter there. So I do want to point out, so this stretch of Wendover is very busy. I'm from the High Point area. High Point is right next to Greensboro, but Wendover, very busy. There are car dealerships, there are businesses. On a normal day is busy, but like on a Saturday is really, really busy. A lot of people go there. There are a bunch of restaurants. There are just a lot happening along Wendover. I just want to point out, too, one of the big universities there in Greensboro having their homecoming, UNCG, and Wendover can basically take you almost directly to UNCG. And so I just wanted to point that out because of folks here in our area may be going up there. So just wanted to sort of help you navigate through that. All right, so we want to go back now to Walker Lawson, who is in downtown Waxhaw, talking to folks there on the ground. Walker, I saw you spoke with a lady just moments ago. What did she have to say?
Oh, I am glad I did this.
Yeah, well, she's actually going to join us again here to talk. We have another lady joining us as well. I don't know if you guys took the other one a minute ago or this one just now. Obviously, we're kind of moving through because there are a ton of people out here. But I have someone with me. We're kind of on the back side of where everyone is standing at. You're joining us today, Miss Judy. Thank you for joining us. You said to me just a moment ago that you were typically not someone that gets out and goes to rally or protest. Why did you come out for this?
It's time. We have got to bring the country together. Unification is important, and the truth needs to be had. We need to insist on the truth. We were a country that was based on truth and honesty. And kindness. And I'd like to see that. I want to protect that. It's like a child. You must protect and nurture love. And in a country that cares about its people, we don't need this kind of division, and we don't need this kind of talk. Let's stop this. We can stop it as people. We're humans first. And I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You brought out a copy, actually, of the Declaration of Independence just now. Are you handing them out? Why did you bring this out?
Well, it's an idea. You know, I think everyone should read the Constitution again, so they're reminded of what so many people died for, and what we stood up to the whole world as a beacon of a possibility. That is what we were, and this is what we are now. We're not anything different. We don't need the division. People get together. Oh, please, it's so important.
Yeah, when you say, the division and getting together, you see an array of people out here. We probably have hundreds of people out here right now. How does it make you feel to see this number of people here? But also you look at Charlotte, there's a large protest. We have protests nationwide happening right now. How does it make you feel to see these people uniting in a common message?
It is heartwarming. It is terrific. It is the beginning of what needs to happen. You know, I don't, I'm a Democrat, but the party system needs to work on itself. We need to decide that it's okay to disagree. Somebody told us it wasn't okay. It's really okay to disagree and still be polite and kind and honest with your neighbors. We don't need the division. We can't take it. It would be so sad to see America lapse into what other dictators. It's a pattern, that project.
Thank you so much for speaking with us. We appreciate it. As we said, we're kind of on the backside, but it is still going on. It'll be taking place until noon today, so my photog going to turn him around abruptly. But we still have an array of people out here, again, lined up. They will be here until noon here in downtown Waxhaw.
Thank you, Walter. I hope.
All right, so that is Walker Lawson there live in Waxhaw, downtown Waxhaw. He spoke with that woman who had a small copy of the Declaration of Independence. I don't think I've seen a small copy like that before, but she basically, her message was, I'm tired of the division in the country. And that's some of the similar messages we've been getting from people on the ground. so far today as protests and rallies and marches continue not only in the Charlotte area, but across the state, across the country. Let's go back to Uptown. I believe this is Uptown. Yes, this is Uptown. The march continues. So many people there. Thousands of people. Walker said hundreds in Waxhaw. There are thousands of people in Uptown. And I want to point that out just in case you are about to go through Uptown. This may be what you run into. So this started as a rally at First Ward Park. Eventually, folks marching, making their way through the streets of Uptown. Folks holding signs. They can see there folks in costume. And so we've heard from so many people so far this morning. And this is an emotional experience for a lot of folks. You see folks of different ages, different backgrounds, folks getting emotional, talking about what this means for them. And not only what it means for them, but it means for their families. You know, we talked about this earlier, how a lot of folks have brought up their kids, either their kids who are small or teenagers, or the kids who are now adults, and how it impacts them. And so this has been a very emotional time for folks out there, as this is the second No Kings protests in our area. First one happening back in June, where we saw a similar situation, where we saw a lot of people across different areas. And Jeb, because I lean on Jeb sometimes because he just has a memory of an elephant. He just remembers so much. So I remember back in April, I was in Charleston. I was in Somerville, which is in Charleston area. There was a similar situation. There were other, I don't think they were named No Kings, but there were other protests earlier this year in different parts of the country. Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
There have been several throughout the year. I mean, even while Trump was going through the actual nomination and candidate process. But these No Kings have been, by Indivisible, the largest movement, if you will. I mean, there's over 50 cities, and then when you count towns and small communities, hundreds have been coming out. These have been some of the largest protests together that we've seen in quite frankly, the last few years.
No, it's and all within 10 months.
Right.
All within 10 months. That's how long President Trump, his second term, has been so far. Just looking, I know we're getting updates in like real time right now.
Yeah.
So we see Bria Smith, who is actively talking to folks there on the ground. So we'll check in with her in a little bit. I think she got another interview for us coming up shortly. Walker Lawson talking to folks there in Waxhaw. So you see Bria there walking. Let's hang on this for a bit, because I think she's almost there to where the folks she's going to interview. So this is Uptown, where that march continues. That rally started at First Ward Park. Bria has been there all morning for the rally, as we heard from several speakers. And now she's talking to this young man right there. Let's take a listen to it.
She's awesome. She's our caregiver. Alrighty, so I'll talk to you all. But really, if you want to, Mr. Charlie, if you want to talk a little bit about why you're here today, 93. That's a long time. You've seen a lot, happen. So, what is the importance of being here today?
I just felt like we had to show how we felt about all this. We watch television a lot at our age, and we just see all the terrible things that are happening to our country. And, at 93, I can't do much more than this. But I do have a helper, and she's really great. And my wife made the signs. But we do have 2 granddaughters, and I worry about that. What's the world going to be like for them? I don't have to worry about me so much at being 93.
Well, it's amazing to see you here. Obviously, You said that you're 93, you can't do much, but this is for some a lot. Describe to the people who maybe just didn't have the chance to come out today the importance of just showing up. I've spoken to young, middle age, all of it, and it's really important to hear what they have to say. But what do you have to say to people who really just didn't have the chance to make it, or maybe didn't think that showing up today would make a change?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the last part.
What do you
wanted to be counted?
What?
Yeah, so how would you describe to people who maybe just didn't have the chance to be here today, or even maybe felt like, it wouldn't make a change to be here? What do you have to say to them?
Oh, well, I'm healthy except for legs, and I can't march myself, but I can go in a wheelchair, and I'm just real happy to be here. We are really concerned about the President of the United States and all the things that he's doing. And he says he don't want to be a king, but he does.
Well, great to see you here today. We appreciate you coming out.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And what does it mean to you to be able to get this all to happen?
Well, we were both educators.
Actually, the interview. You want to go back to this interview? Okay, let's go back to it.
Children how to think and what democracy is all about, and we can't let it go down the drain.
Absolutely. And he said something that's really powerful there, is that he can't walk, but he's still here. And what does that message send to people? What do you think?
He's a wonder. People really look up to the way he's keeping on. And we believe in this country, and we believe in democracy. He was a Korean War veteran, so we're here. What worries me is the people that don't know what's going on. We just want to make them notice.
Absolutely. And very lastly, that thing that you just said is that the people who don't know what's going on, what is it that you hope they take away from today, the message?
Well, maybe they'll see that we're not left-wing terrorists and that we care about the country and all ages. People need to see the government working the way it's supposed to work.
Absolutely. Pleasure to meet you all. Thank you
you
so much. We appreciate it.
All right, so that was Bria Smith. Talking to folks, a 93-year-old gentleman there. He says, look, I can't march, but I can be out here. 93 years old there in Uptown. All right, so we want to go to Greensboro, West Wendover Avenue, where our content partners, WFNY, covering No Kings 2 protests rally happening there. Folks lined up there. We have Lauren Tier. So, Lauren, what are you seeing? What are you hearing?
It's pretty big out here. The crowd continues to grow since we've been here since about 11. As you can see, there are people lining these sidewalks on both sides of West Wendover, which is a pretty major thoroughfare here in Greensboro. And again, these lines stretch hundreds of feet up and down the sidewalk. You can see people holding their signs, asking for cars to honk, and that's definitely what they're doing. You'll probably be able to hear it in the next few seconds. There's another car honking. A lot of these signs say honk for democracy, and it's clear that these drivers are definitely reading as they pass by. At this point, we have not seen any signs of violence. Everything has been entirely peaceful. Again, these people are just holding up their signs, they're waving their American flags, and they are asking for democracy, protesting the current Trump administration. Like I said, no signs of violence as of right now. Everyone has been entirely peaceful. I did hear some chanting going on earlier, but as of right now, you can see people dressed up, wearing shirts, wearing costumes, holding their signs, holding their flags. Again, nothing of the violent sort as of this time, and we can still see people parking their cars and walking up to join this peaceful protest at this point. And I am live in Greensboro. Lauren here with WCNC.
All right, Lauren, thank you for that report there in Greensboro. We want to go back out now to downtown Waxhaw, where our Walker Lawson is talking to a gentleman there at the rally. Let's take a listen in.
And the reality of we talk about the Constitution and why we got the Bill of Rights, and the whole No Kings things comes from the delegates to the Second Constitutional Convention rejected any concept of a king. There was even talk about, once Washington was elected, They said, "What do we call you? Your Excellency, King George?" And he said, "No." And the basis for all that was they didn't want to exchange one form of tyranny, King George III, for another form. And unfortunately, 238 years later, we're worried. I don't like it. Nobody here likes it.
Obviously, we expect a large turnout in uptown Charlotte in some of the major cities. We are here in a smaller suburban community. Are you shocked by the amount of people that have come out here to today to protest, to gather, to share their voice? Does it surprise you?
No, and it's getting louder and louder, and that's a good thing to hear. I talked to some people that came over from South Carolina, so it's not just Waxhaw. I don't know what's going on in Monroe, but hopefully these things will catch the ear of our legislators in Washington and get this past the danger zone, to borrow it from a movie.
That's all I need. Great job.
Thank you so much. Do you know who...
All right, so that is a live look, a live interview there. Our Walker Lawson has done with a gentleman there in downtown Waxhaw as that protest there continue. Actually, there's a live interview. I don't know if we want to go out to this in Nashville. Let's take a listen in.
What do you want from this? What we hope is we actually have a special election on December 2nd. It is the last congressional election in the whole country, and we have an opportunity to elect a leader who's going to stop Trump's agenda, and we need everybody to turn out and vote, but also, more importantly, to sign up to help us knock on doors to talk to voters from Clarksville to Nashville. When you see all these people together here today, it is hope, but it's also a sign of resolve. The reality is we know that Trump's agenda is not widely accepted or widely popular. You have minority rule in this state, in this country, and they don't represent the people.
What would you say to the community, like the most important message that you can
get organized, join an organization, even if it's a neighborhood association. One of the ways that authoritarians take control is by isolating us. So we need you to get to know your neighbor. We need you to join Turk or Turk Votes or another organization in your city, because you cannot be alone in this moment, and you are not alone. They can visit our website, turkvotes.org, TIRRC votes.org, and sign up to volunteer, to donate, to get engaged.
Are you happy about this?
I'm very happy, yes. This is great. We need to be together.
Can I tell you, I'm 90, and I wondered how much.
All right, so that was a live look there, an interview there in Nashville, Tennessee, as a similar situation. No Kings protest happening there in Nashville, Tennessee, not just Nashville, Tennessee, but across the country right now. See, we have several things happening. Let's take you out to Waxhaw. So Waxhaw right now, folks are still there. They've been out there for a few hours at this point. Got there a little early and have been out there on the sidewalks there in downtown Waxhaw. We've heard from several folks there. We actually heard from a woman who had a small copy of the Constitution, which, and she's, like a lot of these interviews, folks have gotten emotional. This has been an emotional experience for folks. They have not just come by themselves. A lot of times folks have come with family members out here to these No Kings protests, not only across our community, but across the country. So we have reporters in Uptown, Waxhaw. We have live looks in Nashville, Tennessee. What's on Router 4, Jeb? Okay, so we have something on one of our feeds. This is a live look of Uptown, that march, the ground level there. Bria Smith actually spoke with a man moments ago, 93 years old, in a wheelchair with his family. He says, "I can't march, but I can be out here in my wheelchair." And he was holding signs, and a lot of what we've seen, American flags and folks holding signs. Folks in costume, folks of all ages, different generations, folks with their family members, folks with their dogs, as you see right there walking through Uptown in this shot right here. But again, that is a live look. Uptown Charlotte, Waxhaw, and we see Walker Lawson stepping in front of the camera. We also have a live shot in Greensboro, West Wendover Avenue. Let's go back out now to Walker. Walker, what can you tell us?
We just spoke with a former veteran that served our country, and it was really interesting to get to hear him say, this is what he served for these people to have the right to come out and protest. He said this is his first time he's been at a protest since the Vietnam War protests. So really just inspirational to see people from different years and different walks of lives, again, coming out here and just trying to show support. He said, when they created this country, King George, they didn't want that. This is what they wanted. They wanted a democracy for people, and he said that it has concerned him that we're going, and what he feels like is that direction again. So again, just seeing an array of people out here, cars driving by. That's the big thing here in downtown Waxhaw. I know Bria's been walking with people, but for us here, we've really seen not only all of the people lining the streets, but I feel as if every 2 to 3 cars have been blowing their horns as they're going through downtown Waxhaw. I know you guys have heard it in my microphone as I'm out here talking. So it's just really interesting to see the array of people. Again, we're getting close to noon when this is supposed to wrap up. We still have people chanting out here, and we still have more people that have been continuing to show up.
All right, so that's Walker Lawson live there in Waxhaw. He's been there all morning. Walker, thank you for your time. We'll check in with you in a little bit. So that is what's happening there in downtown Waxhaw, as crowds are still there. Folks are still there protesting. Walker has talked to numerous people there in downtown Waxhaw, along with Bria Smith, who is there in Uptown. This is a live look at, you see right here on your screen, of that march that continues through Uptown. Look, you may be thinking, man, they've been marching forever. It's only a 1.1 mile march, but there's a lot of people to filter through Uptown.
You're moving probably 6, 7, maybe even 8,000 people.
Yeah.
1.1 miles. It takes the average person about 20 minutes to get. I mean, they left about, I don't call it 40 minutes, maybe a little less.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people to move through. Bria's been moving through Uptown. Talking to people from mother, daughter, to a woman who's from New York, actually got emotional, really emotional. Both got emotional during their interviews. To a 93-year-old man who has a lot of life experience, decided to be a part of this rally. So again, that is a live look there, Uptown, as that march continues. No Kings 2 protests happening in Uptown and across the country. Also, Nashville is happening as well. They're talking, a crew down there, NBC affiliate there, is talking to folks. Let's take a listen in.
Been taken away? How can I help the children in schools? How can I help the kids whose breakfast and lunch have been taken away? How can I help all of the families who are on SNAP and WIC and all of that is going to be taken away? How can I stand around and wait? How can I stand around and do nothing when there are people suffering and in need from somebody? It is the least fun part of the job. Thank you. So yes, continue to write checks. I'm gonna have to lock doors. Do not.
All right, so that is interview there in Nashville, Tennessee. Let's go to downtown Waxhaw. Walker Lawson is talking to a woman there. Let's take a listen in.
Remember the foundations of what America was built on, which is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
You said to me just a moment ago, is this bigger than the last No Kings protest?
Yes, for Waxhaw, this is amazing. We're at least 400 plus, and we've done the head counting, so we're pretty proud of ourselves showing up in our small little town, showing up and representing everyone.
When you see everyone gathered out here, obviously we're in the heart of downtown. We have a lot of cars coming through. Does it surprise you, or how does it make you feel when you hear all of the horns that have been going on for people that might not just be standing out here, but showing their support, as you can hear behind us?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic because for far too long, people in Union County have felt like their voice has not been heard. And by these sounds, it tells you that people are tired of being silenced. And really, the reality is Union County may look red on paper, but we're not a red county. And the people that are in charge of Union County, they should actually be listening to all of us because they represent everyone, no matter what letter is behind your name. And we have a really large unaffiliated voter stance here in Union County. It's one of our largest voting blocks. And so when we have organizations that ignore them or choose not to listen, they revolt, and this is what happens. And so we're out here, we are peacefully protesting. We are not causing trouble, we're not paid protesters. We're out here doing the work for people to understand that their rights matter to each and every one of us.
When you mentioned just a moment ago this protest is larger than the last one that you guys have had, what do you attribute that growth in attendees out here to?
Honestly, it's what's happening in Washington, D.C. between the government shutdown, between the fact that they're getting ready to steal, or maybe not steal, but they're getting ready to raise our Medicaid prices, our insurance prices for everyday citizens, including the older woman that's behind my shoulder with an oxygen tank, who's out here talking about Medicaid. Like her rates are going to skyrocket in about 2.5 weeks. Us as a family of 4, through my husband's insurance, ours is going to skyrocket. So insurance is really big, and I don't think regular Americans understand what that's going to mean for them until about 2 weeks' time when they have to start filing for their insurance. And I think that's when, in reality, the white Americans, the middle class, everyday people who feel like they're just getting on with their lives, that's when they're going to notice. So we're out here fighting for all Americans because each and every one of them matter.
Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right, so that was Walker Lawson there. Walker Lawson is in live there in downtown Waxhaw. Speaking with a woman, she said a woman with an oxygen tank there at the rally talking about healthcare. And this just kind of shows you, and it keys you into some of the issues that folks want their voices to be heard on and what they're dealing with as well. We want to go back out to Bria Smith, who's live in Uptown, who has been there marching with folks in Uptown, speaking with several people. Bria, catch us up. What are you up to right now?
Yeah, Nick, well, as you can hear, there's cheers. We've finally made it back to First Ward Park, a pretty long march there. And really, it was interesting along the way. I had the chance to see that people that were young, middle-aged, and old, and got the chance to speak to them, learn what they do and how they impact this community, not only here in Charlotte, but across the world. We met with a Korean War veteran, and then a 14-year-old girl who's going to go back to school on Monday and share with our classmates what she learned here at this protest. So it was very instrumental, very important to really speak to those individuals who are a part of our community, but they're really just expressing their concerns with this No Kings. They're just, wanting to have not a dictatorship, but really emphasizing the importance of health care, Medicaid, and then also things like equality when it comes to immigration and the LGBTQI community. So just really hitting those main points that they want to get across, and hoping that after this protest, people will learn more, they'll be more educated, and be able to live in a civilized community. That's pretty much the overall message that I got from everyone that I spoke to today, Nick.
Bria, before I let you go, what's happening right now? I know you have stopped walking, obviously doing this live shot, but what are folks doing? As the march wrapped up, are folks still marching?
Yeah, I think there might be, if I'll just turn here, I think we might have made it to our end here, but if you take a look over here, people are still gathered with their signs. I think people are just kind of speaking and getting together, but they're still showing their signs, Nick. Definitely not going anywhere. They still want their message to be heard. I think the march portion, however, of this protest today is over, and they might just linger around here for a while, but we do have CMPD. There is law enforcement. They are still standing by as protesters are still kind of hanging out here around and at First Ward Park, Nick.
All right, Bria Smith there in Uptown. That march looks like it's seemingly wrapped up. Bria, you stay safe out there. All right. So again, as you saw, there's so many people there in Uptown Charlotte, and with their families in costumes, with American flags, with signs, with shirts, all for this No Kings 2 protest, the second iteration of it. The first one happening back in June, where we saw so many people, more expected today, as we have rallies in Tennessee, in Massachusetts. I think I saw Chicago, Washington, D.C. we showed you, downtown Buffalo, New York. Just what I saw, and there were many more happening. 2,500 marches happening today. Waxhaw, downtown Waxhaw, sticking in Union County, Monroe also. But this is a live look at downtown Waxhaw. Folks have been there for hours with American flags, as I just mentioned, encouraging folks to honk for democracy. So folks there, and Walker mentioned this earlier, a lot of people there. And just keep in mind, if you are planning to go through downtown Waxhaw, at one point Walker mentioned that traffic was at a standstill. So I can imagine on a typical Saturday, it's pretty busy. Folks are out and about in downtown Waxhaw. And on a day like today, where there are rallies happening, it could be pretty busy. It looks like we have a live interview. Let's go to this interview in Greensboro. This is West Wendover. Let's take a listen in. No Kings protest there in Greensboro.
Expressing love for the United States as a democracy.
And why was it important for you to be here?
This is the only country that I've got to defend. So I want to make sure that everyone understands I'm against most of the policies of Trump.
And how long have you been out here?
An hour.
An hour. What would you say about this crowd of people?
It's impressive. It's impressive.
Have you been to other protests like this in Greensboro?
No, no.
Have you ever protested before?
Yes, back in the day.
In the 60s.
Can you tell me a little bit about that and how this compares to that?
There's a continuity here. The spirit of Americans who appreciate the chance to make a better society for everyone.
And how does it make you feel to see all these people out here kind of championing the same message that you have?
I feel supportive and part of the spirit of America.
And what would you say about living in America right now? What are kind of your thoughts?
It's both good and bad. There's the reactionaries are people who claim the Confederacy or embrace Russia and China. And
all right, so this is a live interview there in Greensboro. We want to go back now to Uptown. Bria Smith interviewing someone there at the rally. Let's take a listen in.
And people who are violent, and it really helps to match the absurdity of those statements when we show up and show support in silly inflatable animal costumes.
Absolutely. What does it mean for you to be here today, representing, what you're standing for?
There's so many things, mostly like freedom of speech, of like being able to gather and tell everybody like why we don't like about this administration, and pretty much that being that's a right. Like we are legit worried we're going to lose, and we're here to prove like we don't want to lose that right.
Absolutely. Now I spoke to someone else earlier who was also dressed up and kind of was wearing their message. I think that's a great way to kind of get your point across without actually speaking. So what is the importance of, like you mentioned, wearing the message that you're trying to send, and what is that message?
It's really just to show that we are together, united, and we are nonviolent, and we want to stand up for all communities in this country.
So very lastly, what do you hope that people take away from today's protest?
Just when you hear things in the news about people being violent, you need to really take a look at what is really happening.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so that is Bria Smith interviewing a couple of folks there live in Uptown as the march looks like it has wrapped up. We did get word from photojournalist Ben Green that CMPD has started to open up roads there in Uptown. So it looks like folks are starting to filter out. But just to recap, we've seen so many people, thousands of people in Uptown Charlotte alone at this No Kings 2 protest, hundreds in Waxhaw, which is in Union County. But to put this in perspective, millions across the country, and those rallies are happening, give or take different time zones and start times. But that's a live look in Uptown as, again, folks are still there lingering around as that rally appears to have wrapped up there in Uptown. And we are continuing to keep our eye on different shots and different vantage points and different scenes from across the country, from, again, Greensboro to Charlotte to Waxhaw, Tennessee, Massachusetts, Boston, all over. And thank you for tuning in here for our extensive coverage here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll have more on the news at 6 and 11. Thank you for joining us.